In the heart of Pennsylvania, there was a town called Elmridge, a place where everyone knew Jim Holbrook. He was more than just the fire chief. He was the town's anchor, a steady hand in a crisis. For 30 years, Jim ran toward danger when others ran away. He was a hero, plain and simple, the kind of man you trusted. Jim was also a single father, raising his daughter Claire after her mother left. The town rallied around him, watching him juggle fire calls and parent-teacher conferences. He never complained, just did what needed to be done. Jim was everything Elmridge admired, a pillar of the community. No one ever questioned his story. Why would they? He had saved their homes, their lives. In their eyes, he was infallible, a symbol of safety and security. But heroes can have shadows, long and dark. Sometimes those shadows hide unthinkable secrets, waiting for someone to stumble upon them. In Elmridge, that someone was Claire, the daughter who spent years trying to outrun a past she never understood. She held the key to secrets that had lain dormant for decades. And soon, the truth would come rushing back. The image of Jim Holbrook was perfect, almost too perfect, but perfection can be the best disguise of all. Years passed. Claire Holbrook moved away, building a life far from Elmridge and her father's shadow. But in the summer of 2025, Jim's health failed, and Claire returned out of duty. It was supposed to be a short visit, just paperwork and memories. But Jim handed her a key to his storage unit, telling her to clear it out. "Just junk," he said. Claire drove to the edge of town, the key heavy in her hand. She rolled up the storage door, expecting clutter. Instead, she found boxes sealed with brittle tape, tucked behind old furniture. Inside the first box, photo albums, not family pictures, but photos of women, strangers, posed in unsettling ways. Claire's heart pounded. This wasn't junk. She dug deeper, finding a small, leather-bound journal in her father's handwriting. The words inside were chilling. The man she thought she knew was a stranger. The secrets in Unit 237 would change everything. Claire realized she was unlocking a door to a past darker than she could have imagined. The truth was waiting, and it was terrifying. Her father's legacy was about to unravel. The nightmare began with the photographs. Dozens of Polaroids of women, their faces frozen in fear. Some were taken in the basement of Claire's childhood home. Then, a photo of a woman with familiar eyes, her mother's eyes, stared back at her in terror. Beneath the albums, Claire found personal belongings, a silver locket, a pearl earring, a driver's license from a missing woman. Women's clothing, jewelry, and a small bag filled with human teeth. Each item was a ghost, a stolen life. The air grew thick as Claire realized her father had curated a secret museum of his victims. At the back of the unit, under a tarp, was a sealed barrel with a chemical smell. Claire didn't need to open it to know what was inside. The truth crashed down. Her father, the town hero, was a predator, a killer hiding in plain sight. The world she knew crumbled in an instant. She stumbled out into the sunlight, forever changed. The perfect facade was gone. The monster within had been revealed. The secrets of Unit 237 would haunt her forever. Elmridge's hero was a lie. Claire didn't call the local police, she called the state police. The investigators arrived quietly, meeting her at a distant diner. They listened, grim-faced, and launched a secret investigation. Forensic teams documented everything, the photos, the trophies, the barrel. Inside the barrel, they found skeletal remains, 3 victims preserved in chemicals. Dental records confirmed one was Claire's mother, Eleanor. The other 2 were women from old missing persons reports. The evidence was overwhelming. Jim Holbrook, beloved fire chief, was a serial killer. Detectives quietly re-examined old disappearances, searching for more victims. The confrontation was inevitable. 2 detectives and a doctor visited Jim in his nursing home. They showed him a photo of Eleanor. Jim, frail and distant, stared at it for a long time. When asked what happened, he whispered, "The fire takes what it wants." He said nothing more. The truth was out, but the answers died with him. Jim Holbrook died 2 days later, taking his secrets to the grave. The news broke, shattering Elmridge. The town's hero was exposed as a monster. Some refused to believe it, but the evidence was undeniable. A retired firefighter recalled a suspicious fire, memories now sinister. Claire vanished after giving her statement, unable to face the town or her family's legacy. Her disappearance became another mystery. The case of Jim Holbrook remains a chilling reminder. We may never truly know those we admire. How many more secrets did he keep? Were there more victims? The questions hang over Elmridge like smoke. The hero's legacy was forever scorched by the truth. The ashes left only haunting questions. In the end, the town learned that darkness can hide behind even the brightest smiles. The story of Elmridge is a warning. How well do you really know the heroes among you? The aftermath of Jim Holbrook's exposure sent shockwaves through Elmridge. In the days that followed, voices from every corner of the town rose to share their memories, suspicions, and disbelief. First, a longtime neighbor stands in her doorway, face obscured by shadows. "I always thought Jim was a good man. He helped me fix my fence after a storm. Never asked for anything in return. I can't believe it." He was calm under pressure, the kind of guy you wanted beside you in a burning building, but sometimes, he'd disappear after a call. Wouldn't say where he'd been. Looking back, maybe we missed something. My father always said heroes aren't perfect. He had a temper, Jim did. I remember seeing him late at night, pacing outside Unit 237. He looked lost, or maybe guilty. I don't know. People talk, you know. Some say he saved more lives than anyone. Others say he kept too many secrets. I served him for years, but now I wonder, did we ever really know him? I saw him that night, the fire. He was already there when I arrived. Told me to stay back. I thought he was protecting me. Now I'm not so sure. As Elmridge grapples with the truth, these voices linger, some clinging to the memory of a hero, others haunted by doubt. In the end, every story is a patchwork of perspective, stitched together by those left behind. The legacy of Jim Holbrook is no longer his alone. It belongs to the town, to its questions, and to its scars. The official record of the Elmridge investigation paints a story in fragments. Each line, each redaction, another piece of the puzzle left unsolved. From police transcript interview #14, subject states he saw Holbrook enter Unit 237 at 10:47 p.m. When asked what happened next, subject hesitated. Quote, "He told me not to follow, said it was safer that way." Excerpt audio log 237-03. "There's something in here, something nobody's supposed to see. If anyone finds this..." Audio cuts out evidence log entry #51. Personal effects recovered from Unit 237. One firefighter's helmet, visor cracked, pocket notebook, pages torn. Photograph of Holbrook with unknown child, face obscured from the summary report. Discrepancies noted between official timeline and witness accounts. Several items remain unaccounted for. Further review required. Each document, every object raises new questions. Was Jim Holbrook hiding something darker than anyone imagined? Or do these scattered fragments conceal a truth no one in Elmridge is ready to face? Sometimes the evidence says more in what it omits than what it reveals. As investigators sifted through the debris of Unit 237, a new thread emerged, one that threatened to unravel everything believed about Jim Holbrook. An anonymous envelope slipped beneath the precinct door contained a single torn page. On it, a scrawled message. He wasn't alone. Look for the second set of footsteps. The camera lingers on grainy security footage. Two shadowy figures move in the hallway, their faces blurred by static. Only one is wearing Holbrook's uniform. The other, taller, movements deliberate, remains unaccounted for in the official report. A distorted audio file plays. A voice, disguised and trembling, whispers, "You're looking at the wrong man. Check the logs. The truth is in what's missing." The video cuts to a close-up of a police evidence bag. Inside, a key with no known lock. Anonymous tips flood the hotline. Some are dead ends, others point to cryptic clues. A burned scrap of paper found in the alley behind Unit 237, a set of muddy boot prints leading away from the scene, never matched to any first responder. As the pieces accumulate, so does the doubt. Was Holbrook orchestrating something sinister, or was he merely a pawn, framed by forces lurking in the periphery? With every new shadow cast, the line between guilt and innocence blurs, and the truth slips further into darkness. As weeks turn into months, Elmridge tries to reclaim a sense of normalcy. The camera glides over empty streets bathed in the pale glow of streetlights, storefronts closing earlier than before, and neighbors exchanging wary glances as they lock their doors. Inside the precinct, a stack of unsolved case files sits untouched, their edges fraying. The key from Unit 237 is sealed away in evidence, its purpose still unknown. On a bulletin board, faded photos and cryptic notes linger, reminders of a puzzle with too many missing pieces. In shadowed alleyways, the echo of hurried footsteps is met with silence. A mother pulls her child closer, glancing over her shoulder. A local shopkeeper pauses mid-conversation, eyes darting to the darkened window. Even the bravest among them carry a new wariness, an unspoken fear that whoever walked those hallways with Holbrook is still out there, hidden in plain sight. As the camera pans across the quiet town, the questions remain, unanswered, unsettling. Who was the second figure? What secrets lie behind the locked doors and missing logs? And will the truth ever come to light, or will it remain buried with the ashes of Unit 237? In Elmridge, the mystery endures, and as night falls, suspicion lingers like a shadow that refuses to fade. As the town of Elmridge tries to move forward, a ripple of unease spreads with the arrival of new witnesses. The police station's interview room, stark and silent, becomes the stage for revelations. An overhead light flickers as Detective Marrow sits across from a nervous figure. Lena Harrow, a nurse who worked the night shift near Unit 237. Lena's testimony doesn't match earlier statements which claimed Holbrook was alone. Suddenly, old alliances are questioned. The camera lingers on townspeople gathering in hushed circles. Neighbors exchanging accusatory whispers, families confronting one another over secrets long buried. Faces once familiar now seem masked by doubt. A shopkeeper, previously silent, steps forward with a statement about late-night deliveries to the hospital, deliveries not logged in official records. Another witness describes seeing the same mysterious woman near the precinct days before the fire. The interview transcripts pile up, each one a puzzle piece that refuses to fit. Motives are unearthed, debts, betrayals, hidden relationships that thread through Elmridge like veins beneath the surface. As the truth begins to surface, the emotional toll is visible. Tears, anger, and whispered apologies ripple through the community. The sense of safety that once defined Elmridge is shattered, replaced by suspicion and heartbreak. The camera pulls back, showing the town at dusk, windows alight, doors locked, hearts heavy with new questions. With every witness, the mystery deepens, and the legacy of Unit 237 grows ever more tangled. Who can be trusted now, and what other secrets wait in the shadows, desperate to be revealed? The investigation reaches its breaking point. Inside the Elmridge Town Hall, a projector hums to life as the official police report is unveiled before a tense audience. The room is crowded with townsfolk, survivors, and those still haunted by Unit 237. Detective Marrow stands at the front, her voice steady, but her eyes betraying the weight of what she is about to say. On the screen, a detailed timeline appears. Security footage, intercepted messages, and forensic reports weave together the story of that fateful night. For the first time, the public sees the grainy image of a second figure entering Unit 237, someone previously dismissed as a bystander. A forensic analyst steps forward, presenting new evidence: fingerprints recovered from a scorched door handle. The prints belong not to Holbrook, but to an unexpected figure, Dr. Elliot Voss, a respected physician and close friend of the Holbrook family. Gasps ripple through the hall. The report reconstructs the timeline. Dr. Voss was seen leaving the hospital minutes before the fire alarm. Lena Harrow's revised statement now makes sense. She saw Holbrook and Voss arguing in the corridor, their voices muffled but urgent. The late-night deliveries, previously unexplained, were orchestrated by Voss to smuggle in unregistered chemicals and attempt to cover up experimental treatments gone wrong. Detective Marrow reads from the transcript, her words landing heavy. Dr. Voss acted as an accomplice, motivated by a desperate bid to save his own reputation. The fire was a tragic accident, sparked by volatile chemicals, a secret neither he nor Holbrook ever intended to reveal. As the truth sinks in, the camera finds the main characters. Lena clutches her hands, her eyes shining with tears. The shopkeeper bows his head, regret etched deep. In the back row, Mrs. Holbrook's face crumples in disbelief while Detective Marrow closes the file, her jaw set with resolve. The legacy of Unit 237 is changed forever. The town must now reckon with betrayal from within, and the painful knowledge that trust can be its own kind of illusion. Outside, night falls over Elmridge. The streets are quiet, but behind every window, hearts and minds are racing, struggling to accept the final, shocking chapter of the story. The truth is out, but the scars will remain. The following morning, Elmridge awakens to a new reality. The truth about Unit 237 hangs in the air, raw, undeniable. In the town square, small groups gather, voices hushed but urgent. Some embrace, tears streaming down their faces, while others stand apart, arms crossed in anger or disbelief. Forgiveness does not come easily. Old wounds are reopened, and new ones form. Inside the bakery, Mrs. Holbrook sits across from Lena. The silence between them is heavy, but finally Mrs. Holbrook reaches out, her voice trembling. "I never wanted to believe it, but I'm glad you told me." Lena nods, tears in her eyes, and the two women share a quiet moment of reconciliation. At the edge of town, the local church opens its doors for a candlelight vigil. The townspeople file in, each carrying a small flame, a symbol of hope and remembrance. Detective Marrow stands near the entrance, greeting each person with a solemn nod. The shopkeeper, once a pillar of certainty, confesses his own guilt to a friend, admitting he ignored warning signs out of misplaced loyalty. Meanwhile, Claire stands alone by the ruins of Unit 237. The building is scarred and silent, but in the morning light she feels something shift inside her. She kneels, placing a single wildflower among the ashes, a tribute to her father, and to the truth. As memories swirl, her childhood laughter, her father's late-night stories, the arguments she never understood, Claire finally allows herself to grieve, but she also smiles just a little, knowing she is free from the burden of secrets. Later, Claire visits Lena. "It's time I leave Elmridge," she says gently. "But I won't forget what happened here, I'll carry it with me, and I'll make sure the story is told honestly." Lena hugs her, whispering, "We'll be okay, thank you." As dusk falls, the camera sweeps over Elmridge, families reuniting, friends mending rifts, and solitary figures lost in thought. The town remains scarred, but there is a sense of resilience, a quiet determination to heal. The legacy of Unit 237 will never be forgotten, but neither will the courage it took to face the truth. In the end, Elmridge stands together, forever changed, but moving forward one day at a time. As seasons change, Elmridge quietly rebuilds. The scars of Unit 237, though deep, become part of the town's tapestry, a reminder of darkness endured, and the light that followed. Where the old building once stood, a memorial garden now blooms. White stones mark the names of the victims, surrounded by wildflowers and benches for reflection. On the anniversary of the truth's unveiling, townspeople gather in silence, candles flickering in the dusk. Claire stands before the memorial, her voice steady but soft. "We cannot rewrite the past, but we can choose how we remember it, and how we move forward. Elmridge taught me that even in our deepest pain there is room for honesty, for change, and for hope." Children's laughter echoes in the background, a new generation running through the garden, free from secrets. Lena places a wreath at the monument, joined by Mrs. Holbrook and others who once carried the weight of denial. Detective Marrow reads the names aloud, each one a promise, never forgotten, always honored. As the sun sets, the camera rises above Elmridge. The town is quiet yet alive, a patchwork of loss and resilience. Soft lights glow in every window, a testament to healing begun. In the final moments, Claire's words return, clear and resolute. "We are more than our tragedies. We are the stories we choose to tell, and the hope we dare to hold." The music swells gently as the screen fades to the image of the memorial garden, bathed in golden evening light. A single word appears: "Remember." The music lingers, then slowly fades, leaving the audience with a sense of peace and the promise of new beginnings. Just as Elmridge begins to heal, a ripple of unease stirs beneath the calm. In the hush of twilight, a new voice emerges, a figure known only as Mr. Finch, stepping from the shadows with a story that threatens to unravel the fragile peace. His testimony is delivered in whispers, a trembling recount of that fateful night. "I was there!" His voice cracks in the dim light of the police station. "I saw someone else. Not Claire, not Lena. Someone in a dark coat moving fast, carrying something." Visuals flicker across the screen, a grainy silhouette darting past the smoldering ruins of Unit 237, the glint of a flashlight caught in the fog. Townspeople gather in anxious clusters, eyes wide with suspicion and fear. Old wounds reopen as whispers spread. Was the truth incomplete? Had the real culprit slipped away, hidden in plain sight? Detective Marrow pores over new evidence, a muddy footprint by the garden fence, a scorched button found near the foundation, clues overlooked, or deliberately ignored. The camera lingers on Mrs. Holbrook's worried face, on Lena's clenched hands, on Claire's uncertain gaze. Tension mounts as Mr. Finch's words echo through the town. Who was the shadow in the night? Why have they remained silent for so long? Doubt coils around every memory, every testimony, shaking the foundations of the story Elmridge thought it knew. In the final shot, the memorial garden stands silent, moonlight casting long, uncertain shadows across the stones. The peace of Elmridge is once again fragile, haunted by a single, unanswered question. The truth, it seems, is never as simple as it appears. In the wake of Mr. Finch's revelation, another secret comes to light, one buried beneath dust and decades of silence. In a forgotten corner of the Holbrook attic, Claire uncovers an old, leather-bound diary. Its cover is cracked, its pages yellowed by time, but within lies a truth more unsettling than any whispered rumor. Visuals linger on Claire's trembling hands as she brushes away cobwebs, her breath catching when she opens the diary. The camera closes in on the delicate handwriting. June 12th. Jim's eyes were different tonight. He came home late, smelling of smoke and fear. There are things he won't say, things I'm too afraid to ask. As Claire reads, the screen flashes with sepia-toned memories. Her mother's anxious glances, hushed arguments behind closed doors, the flicker of firelight on a stormy night. Each entry peels back another layer. He says it's for the good of Elmridge, but I see the shadows growing in him. I hear them at night whispering outside our window. The music swells as Claire's eyes fill with tears. She turns the page. If anything happens, if the town turns on us, remember, the truth is never one person's burden. Secrets don't burn away, they linger like ashes on the wind. Emotional close-ups capture Claire's pain, confusion, and dawning realization. The diary's final entry is a plea. Forgive him, forgive me, but do not forget. The camera pans out, showing Claire sitting in the attic's dim light, the diary pressed to her heart. Outside, the wind stirs the branches, carrying the weight of secrets long concealed. The legacy of Elmridge is no longer just a tale of heroes and villains, but of families bound by silence, and the price they pay for the truths they keep. The screen fades to black, leaving the echoes of her mother's words hanging in the air, unsettling, unforgettable. As the dust from Claire's discovery settles, a new storm brews, this time in the cold, fluorescent-lit halls of the Elmridge Police Department. A freshly unsealed forensic report lands on Detective Harris's desk. Its contents are damning fingerprints and fibers overlooked, timelines that don't quite add up, and a blood sample, mislabeled, or perhaps deliberately swapped. Visuals flash between investigators huddled in whispered conversation, shadows flickering across their tense faces. Detective Harris, jaw clenched, pores over the report, while Officer Lynn glances nervously over her shoulder, clutching a folder to her chest. In the evidence room, a gloved hand slides a file into a locked drawer, out of sight and, for now, out of reach. The town's paranoia deepens. Rumors ripple through late-night diners and dimly lit bars. Who tampered with the evidence? Who stands to lose if the truth comes out? Scenes cut to secret meetings, two figures in the parking lot, voices muffled, exchanging a hurried envelope. A phone rings in the dead of night, a warning hissed through static. You're digging too deep, let it go. As the camera lingers on Detective Harris's haunted eyes, the lines between allies and suspects blur. The stakes have never been higher. Elmridge is no longer just haunted by the sins of its past, but by the unsettling possibility that justice, too, may be a casualty of its secrets. The screen pulses with tension, the music tightening like a noose. The truth is out there, but in Elmridge, every answer only leads to more questions, and the shadow of a cover-up looms larger than ever. Beneath the flickering lights of Elmridge's aging town hall, the air crackles with anticipation. Residents pack the creaking pews, faces drawn and wary, the weight of suspicion in every glance. The mayor's gavel raps against wood, but order is an illusion. Voices rise, accusations slicing through the silence like knives. On one side, Detective Harris stands rigid, clutching the forensic report, eyes scanning the crowd for allies or betrayers. Across the aisle, Officer Lynn's gaze drops, her grip tightening on the folder she's carried like a lifeline. Old friends turn into adversaries as whispers become shouts. Who's protecting who? What else has been hidden? Who can we trust? A mother in the front row sobs, clutching a faded photograph. A local reporter shoves a recorder closer, hungry for truth or scandal. Perhaps both. The mayor's voice trembles as she pleads for calm, but the room is a storm of grief, rage, and desperation. As alliances shift before our eyes, neighbors siding against neighbors, secrets invoked as shields, the community's wounds are laid bare. This is more than a search for justice. It's a reckoning with the ghosts that have haunted Elmridge for generations. The camera lingers on Claire, standing at the edge of the crowd, tears glimmering as she watches the town she once called home unravel. The final shot pulls back, the voices blending into a single, anguished question that hangs in the air. Will Elmridge ever know the real truth, or will its shadow swallow it forever? The screen fades to black, the music echoing like a heartbeat lost in the dark.